Today's MMA Tea Company fight preview is with James Netflix Neville. James is going to be fighting at Stellar Fights 47 on October 16th. That's going to be Stellar's first all-pro card. He'll be taking on Brian DePhilip, who is making his pro debut. James, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate your time. How you feeling? I know you're having some issues with getting to the right eye doctor. Other than that, what's going on?
It's good. Yeah, eye doctor stuff, finding the right doctor to do my physical, getting the right blood stuff, all the annoying stuff, you see all the UFCs and they're like, oh, fighting's awesome, it's glamorous, and they don't tell you all this little annoying crap and then trying to sell tickets and then get some shirts out. It's fun, but it is what it is. It's part of the game. You have your amateur career to get ready for fights, but also get you ready for this night, the headache of behind the scenes of trying to make sure all your medical stuff's good. But besides that, very good. Been having a very, very solid fight camp so far.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize really what goes into fighting other than just training, right? I think for a lot of people, they think that fighters just show up and they're in the cage, and it's just two guys who just walked in there and fight. And then people that understand, there's a fight camp and there's training, and it's a full-fledged sport with tactics and all these different things. They understand that, but they don't really understand you having to schedule these eye exams, you have to go get your blood work done, you have to get these physicals. So how much time does that take up in your fight camp, just doing all of these medicals to make sure that you're approved by the athletic commission?
It's not really that bad. It is kind of a pain when it like can take up a whole day and then you have to like miss a fight camp or a practice for it. My schedule has been pretty great since like I went basically full time into like coaching and fighting and stuff like that. I can find a little easier time with it, but at the same time, trying to schedule it can be really annoying, especially with COVID and everything going nowadays. I've had some not really bad experience, but my previous fights, I've had to deal with like, the physicals, the blood work, and I've always been like, yeah, I'll get it a couple weeks out, but the more I've been doing it, all right, let's just get this out of the way. You don't want to be going through hell week or cut week and having to deal with like this extra headache on top of what you should be just dealing with the fight.
Yeah, and every promoter that I'm friends with on Facebook or that I follow on any kind of social media, they're very adamant about fighters get your blood work early, fighters get your blood work early. And there's always that, that one guy or girl that comes up to the fight week and they can't fight because they don't have that blood work. So it's something that, you have to kind of keep top of mind early, when your fight camp starts.
Yeah, for sure. And I was definitely that guy one time. And it wasn't really my fault. I was trying to get blood work and they didn't get like this, the wording of it wasn't specifically right, or like the doctor didn't sign in a certain way. So like, no, you have to go back to him and get it done. I'm like, I thought I got the blood and it was fine, but no, it's like, nope, you have to have like, it can be very particular sometimes with some of them, but it is what it is. Yeah. So now I've dealt with that so many times. I'm very like, all right, this has to be this way. Or when a doctor writes, I'm like, hey, make sure you write here. I know it's stupid, but please write it because they need to have it. So, that's what's part of the game.
Yep, and the commissions are very specific in what they want.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you're pretty much full time now, coaching, training, fighting, pretty much living in the gym from what I see on social media. So how has that, transition been for you of making fighting your kind of your full time job?
I've loved it. It was definitely the best decision I've ever made. Obviously, financially, it's been a bit of a hit early, but it hasn't been, too bad. I've been able to, do most of that and then like get some side jobs here and there. But I've loved it. It's kind of like once I moved to Richmond, when me and my girlfriend moved here, it's kind of just like this was our, not a restart, but like, hey, we're making all these big important decisions. And at this point, I'm 30, still young, but in the fight game, like once you hit 30 to, hit 30 to 40, that's that, like, you got to have something going. So I just at that point where I'm like, let's just full blown go all into this. And it's just been getting better and better. I've been, being able, getting more like private lesson with people, been coaching a lot more. Like I've just been fully immersed into the team. Like anytime there's a fight, there's a tournament with Jitsu, I'm always there, and it's awesome, man. I've really really loved it. It's and it just works great for fights too. Like sometimes people will take some time off, or like they're working so much they can't come to the gym. But when I'm working, I'm at the gym, so there's never, even if I want to be lazy a day, I'm still at the gym. There's no way I'm not getting at least some work in, or at least seeing the techniques there.
And it's one of those things, right, where when you go into coaching full time, that you have to build your classes, and you have to build your, it's essentially your business from the ground up. So in that sense, you know, you might start with 2 or 3 or 4 students, like Christian Carr did at our gym. He took over the kickboxing program and he started with a small class. And now the other day I saw he had like 20 some people in his class. So it's one of those things like anything else. You got to grind in the coaching aspect too. And then you pick up some privates and, it kind of snowballs from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the biggest issue I see with a lot of people who starting new, whether it be new gyms or new classes, they get like only the first few weeks, it's only like, oh, 2 or 3 people or
Mhm.
one people, or I've had no shows. I've had no one show up at all. And it's just like, you got to be patient because yeah, like you're saying, like everything, it just slowly grows. And like, when you get those people who do consistently show up, like, give them that extra work. Like, hey, cool, it's only us. You get this basically free private lesson. So, and I really do think people like pick up on that. Like when they see you're a genuine person, want to help the team, you help them, then they tell their friends like, hey, this guy's really good. And then the more people you get, and then the more it grows. So I've definitely had that experience, but it's like you said, it's since being patient with it, it's the classes are actually getting a lot better, and I've got a lot more of a following, and like the gym itself is like a lot bigger of a family, I think.
Yeah, and that also has to translate directly to your fight camps, right? It has to help you to have those students that you can say, all right, here's what my opponent might do. So can you simulate this when we're training or when we're sparring or whatever that is? And you kind of build a really good rapport with all of those people in the gym instead of just, popping in, popping out for class. You're there all the time. They know you, they know your tendencies, all those different things.
Yeah, and it's awesome, and I love it because yeah, since joining, I've made a lot of really close friends at MMA Institute, and I've had so many people be like, "Hey, what can I do?" Like, I'll have a jitsu guy like, "Hey, I don't know striking, but if you just want to punch me while I try to take you down, that's cool." Or the opposite with like a striker, and I'm just like, "Hey, yeah, man, just honestly, just show up and we'll make something work." I love, but yeah, it's awesome. Like you build that, that yeah, like you're saying, the relationship with someone, and they were like, "Hey, what can I do to help? What can I do to help make you better?" Because whenever I'm, with the gym, I do a lot to help. I go out and just support people, I corner, coach, all that stuff. And like, I never expect anything back. But when you give, out that much, people notice it and they want to give back too, it's awesome. I really love it there.
It's an interesting sport in the sense that it is a very individual sport, right? And you have to be very selfish in the time that you take to train and all the different things you have to do. And it's just you in the cage, but without the team around you and those people there to push you and help you, you can't get very far, right? You can't do a whole lot on your own as an MMA fighter.
Yeah, no, you definitely, and that's true. Like you're in the cage by yourself, but all the work to getting to that, you need the team. I mean, we've seen people who are like, independent with no
Mhm.
gym and a garage, and that it never goes
It
well.
does not, no, it does not go well. And usually the next time they fight, they're with the team.
Yeah, I've seen. We actually had one guy come by. He's like, "Yeah, I was independent. It wasn't working. I need like an actual team." Like, yeah, please. And I've even had people like, "Yeah, I want to join this gym. I might start fighting independently. I don't know." I'm like, "Bro, no, you will get thrown to the wolves. Promoters will find an independent
Mhm.
fighter and give you literally anyone. Like, I'm trying to save you right now. You need like you got to have a team. Like, people like help you get ready for the fight and help you make or stop you from making those bad decisions on taking fights like that you shouldn't be taking."
There's nothing like that 3-8 guy who's an independent fighter who just so happens to fight for a title against the hometown guy, right?
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, "Yeah, I'll take him. I'll fight anyone." And it's like, you really need to start thinking about this more.
Exactly. And thinking about things more, right? This is going to be your second pro fight. I know you went on a pretty good run at the end of your amateur career, and then you did suffer a defeat in your pro debut. So, what was that like? Kind of resetting it and getting back to baseline of like, all right, now here we are, 0-1. Got to go back in and clean up what mistakes I found and different things like that. How was that mentally for you?
Good and bad. I mean, the obvious bad is, you start 0-1, you're a winless fighter, you're not, all this big moment, such a great career, and then starting off, basically I started my amateur career with a loss, and
Mhm.
then, but it was funny after the fight, even like a day, a couple weeks, I actually felt really good about the fight. So, on record it's 0-1, but the person I lost to had like 13 pro fights for my pro debut.
Mhm.
So ironically, as we're joking around about people taking bad fights, that was probably the bad fight I shouldn't have taken. But I took it and I had a great performance. Honestly, it just, a little bit of controversy at the end where I thought I wasn't out, the ref did, like you hear it a million times. I'm
Sure.
making excuses because I am very happy with my performance. I thought my striking was great because I've always been a ground guy and actually stood basically 3 rounds with a pretty good striker. So I was, even in loss, I was very happy about it. But where I'm at now, I really feel like this next fight will be like the rebirth of, my career, my fight. Like I moved to Richmond, I joined MMA Institute. I got a whole different team around me. I've been making a lot of, big choices, quitting my job, doing this full time. I was fully committed before, but when you have a job, you have other stuff you worry about. You can't really give it your all like you can, like what I'm doing now. So this is in my opinion, like I'm restarting my career now. We've seen so many times where people have started 0-1 and gone on win streaks and then got to the UFC, and there's so many things you can do with it. So it does suck. It's hard, I don't like it, starting losing, but the way I'm seeing it, I'm starting over October 16th, and I'm really excited for it.
And that, as much as it does suck, it had to, be a big motivator for you, right? Like, all right, I went in there, I stood with a striker for 3 rounds. My striking is where I thought it was. You might get clipped and, things happen, like you said.
Mm.
But overall, a loss can be as motivating or more motivating than a win. And in that sense, it seems like it's something that kind of drove you to move to Richmond, to, go full time and to really make a run at this.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we all deal with things in life differently, and like it's just how you take it. Like, you can take it and be sad and mope around of it, or you can take it and energize you. I like to think I do that with wins too. Like even if I win, you got to try to find the bad parts where you went wrong, so you can constantly grow. Because it's one of those sports you can't settle. You got to constantly be getting better. And yeah, the loss sucked, and it definitely motivated me. It pushed me. I'm really in a good place right now, where I think I can make like a good run at this and have a lot and stack some wins together to, hopefully get to the big show. But I'm gonna keep working it. I love doing this either way. But yeah, it was, it sucks losing, but how I took it, I think was a big motivator to how what helped me change, my life and my training.
Sure. And now you're going into, this next fight with this kind of rejuvenated training and overall life in the gym. You're fighting Brian DePhilip. He is coming in with not many amateur fights. It's going to be his pro debut. Do you know a whole lot about him? Have you watched film on him? Just tell me where your head's at with what you know about your opponent.
So yeah, like you're saying, he had a few amateur fights, pro debut. From what I've gathered, grappler, purple belt jiu-jitsu, some wrestling, some good wrestling, grappling. So very similar to my career. He
Mhm.
took, a lot of submission and stuff. The very big thing though that I think is, this is probably not a great matchup for him, and just simply because of experience. He had 4 amateur fights, but the big difference is he had amateur fights out of state or out of Virginia. Like, Virginia is, all goes. Like there's the only difference is 3 and 5 minutes. Elbows, knees, heel hooks, all that's allowed. And I had 12 of those. So, and he's only had 4 amateurs. So it is his pro debut, but it's also his first time with a fight where someone can throw full blown elbows, full blown knees. I don't know what rules he was doing. I know he's wearing shin guards in some of his fights, but I know some you can't even hit him on the head on the ground. It's like really stupid somewhere. I mean, sure, safety, but at the end of the day, it's a fight. Just let us fight. So going into it, I just think the experience is heavily in my favor. It's, it might be one of those things where 2 grapplers go against each other, end up striking, or one of us just tries to prove who's the better ground guy. But this is going to be, I don't know. I don't want to say too much. I'm very confident in this fight. I don't go in big headed. I'm not going to, think less of him. I know he's, his pro debut, he's a tough fighter. He's won 3 fights, but I think the experience is heavily in my favor for this one. Even with my amateur fights, 6 of them were for titles. So those were literally the exact same as pro. I just didn't get paid, but so yeah, I think going into this, it'll be a great fight. It'll be a good start fight for me to get my, win streak going, start building up those W's. But you never know. It's MMA. Anything can happen, but I'm taking it very seriously. But this is something I'm very excited about.
Awesome. Yeah, man. We're looking forward to it. And by the way, Pennsylvania is one of those states. I just looked, he did not fight in Pennsylvania, but we are one of those states where it's a very nerfed amateur rule set of 2-minute rounds, no ground and pound to the head, no elbows, no knees, no head kicks,
Jeez.
shin guards. You're basically just wrestling for 6 minutes. So, fights like that, and then you're thrown into the pro rules. It really makes a difference.
Yeah, it's like you do amateurs to get ready for pro, but if you're doing like that kind of fight, you're not really getting ready for a pro
Mhm.
fight. Like, once you're on the big stage and when it really counts for your record, that's not a good time to find out if you can take an elbow or a knee or like get punched on the ground. Like it's silly. I mean, at the end of the day, it's fighting. We all know what we want to do here. Like,
Mhm.
let us fight. But safety, of course, always trying to be the big thing they're gonna push.
Yep, make it as safe of a fight as possible.
Yeah, try to make it safe, but let us fight. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's
No, I
why I think
totally get it.
yeah, I was very lucky fighting in Virginia because every fight was full blown rules, and now I know I can get hit in the face with an elbow, a knee. I mean, I've taken a knee while I was grounded and came back, so I know I can take punishment. So that's why I think, yeah, I should be the heavily favored for this fight just because of the experience. But we'll see.
Yeah, we will, and we're excited to see it. That's going to be October 16th down at Stellar Fights 47. That's an all-pro card. Before I let you go, just wanted to kick it back to you. Any shout outs, any sponsors, training partners, anything like that you wanted to mention, floor is yours.
Man, I really need to start getting sponsors. I need to work on that. I've been working on the fight, and then once I got the fight, I was like, "Oh crap, I need to do this whole banner thing." The first and foremost, obviously, MMA Institute. I've been there over a year, and it has just been like my new family. Like I love them to death. Everyone there, I would kill for. A lot of training partners, whether it be the high level pro fighters or the new people coming in. Always, everyone's always willing to help each other, and it's really great having them. Obviously, my girlfriend Kelly, she's always been there for me step by step for this whole program or for this whole transition, even just in the fight camp. Like, being a fighter, I've had those days where it's like tough. I come home, like I just got the crap beat out of me. I'm like, all right, whatever, but she's patient with it, so it's always good. Um, Shout out to my boy Dustin Bean. He's got his little company, Tasama MMA. Tasama MMA. Yeah, so hopefully I'll be talking to him. He's got a great thing with that. Like always, I'm going to forget people and then remember it later. But the big ones, the training partners, all my friends, family that have been supporting me. You guys as well, loving the new Neville and Chill. I can't wait for the new shirt. So I'm really excited for this, man. Thank you for having me on here and help me, build my career, and hopefully we can help each other. Each of us get like that next level.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's what we're here for. Happy to help. Looking forward to you, fighting on the 16th. Kick some ass, and we'll see you on the other side.
Awesome. Thank you, brother.
Awesome. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
All right, man.